Okay, this is Mongolian Mindset, and we've noticed in the community, everyone seems to be struggling to figure out what is Elon Musk's personality type. So today we're going to be doing an analysis of Elon Musk. If you like the content, subscribe. If you disagree or agree, please comment below. Today we're going to be doing Elon Musk. Some people think he's an ISTP. Some people think he's an INTP. A lot of people believe he's an INTJ. So let's do this.
I'll tell you something. Every time I see that clip, it chills me. Every single time. And I look at it a lot. So thank you very much for coming here. I know it's not convenient. It's not around the corner. I'm really appreciative.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I was on a red-eye flight, so I'm a little slower than normal. I didn't get much sleep. So.
That's sort of my first question. Is that, so you're 51?
Yeah. I'm no spring. I think I'm safely not a spring chicken anymore. Late summer chicken?
I'm 79.
Yes, but you. I mean.
Okay, so what I'm noticing so far is that Elon Musk seems to be quite informative. He's not direct. If he's not direct, that eliminates ISTP and INTJ. Those are direct types, so he would have direct language, which means he would be very specific, concise, and to the point with his language. But informative people take a more of a passive role in a conversation, and you can see he's doing that. He doesn't talk very forcefully, which is another direct people tend to speak more forcefully. He's not doing that, and he seems to be more vague and wordy. But let's keep going to make sure that we are correct with him being informative.
You look great.
So you're 51, and you do 16-hour days, and you work 7 hours a week, and you fly all over the place, and you go to these meetings constantly, and people constantly criticize you for everything. It's amazing to me. I mean, you're changing the world, and you're giving yourself. Why do you do this? So my wife says to me, why are you still working? Why are you still working? What are you doing here?
Well, I think what I'm working on has an important effect on the future.
Okay, so that's a point for abstraction right there. He's talking about the future, and his work has an importance on the future. So he's future focused, which would be a point for abstraction. Abstract types tend to be future focused.
So Tesla, I think it's fair to say that Tesla has significantly accelerated the advent of sustainable energy. Before Tesla.
And he's talking about the outcome as well. He's talking about the outcome of what Tesla has done. So I'm going to put down a point for outcome. So, like I said, the way you can disqualify somebody for being an INTP or whatnot is INTPs are informative language. INTJs are direct language, so they mean what they say. They're very precise. ISTPs are also direct language. ISTPs are concrete thinkers. INTJs are abstract thinkers. But both ISTP and INTJs are both progression types or process. They're really into the process of things, and they're not really looking for outcomes.
No one was doing electric cars, and now, as a result of Tesla, I think almost every major car company in the world is building electric cars.
So he's talking about another outcome there. As a result of Tesla, X outcome is being done. Outcome again.
And I think that's a pretty big deal. But there's still a long way to go to transition the world to a sustainable energy economy. And so
talking about the future again, transitioning the world to a sustainable economy. So put on another point for abstract. And like I said earlier, Elon Musk seems to be informative. He doesn't really have a very forceful voice. He is educating, informing, and being very kind of wordy, vague. It's not direct. It's not very concise or anything.
That's our goal there. And then for SpaceX,
it's very passive.
For the future to be exciting and for
Another future for the future to be exciting. This guy is future focus. 3 points for future focus or extraction.
To be ensured over the long term, I think we must become a multi-planet species and a spacefaring civilization. I think we're here like 4.5 billion years after Earth got started, 13.8 billion years into the age of the universe, and it's only now, recently, in the last 5,000 years, that we invented writing. I would say date the first civilization by when there was the first writing, which was
you see the way he's going about the way he talks. It's not direct. It's not direct. He's going around. It's very wordy. It's not just a direct person would just shout it out. Like, okay, you see, he seems to be going all around. Very passive.
4.5 billion years after Earth got started, 13.8 billion years into the age of the universe, and it's only now, recently, in the last 5,000 years, that we invented writing. I would say date the first civilization by when there was the first writing, which was.
And like, if you guys really want to go back and like compare and contrast, look at the way that Michelle Obama talks and look the way he talks. Michelle is very direct and to the point. He's not.
In ancient Samaria, around 5 or 6,000 years ago. So we've basically just been here for a very brief instant. We're
A blink.
All of human civilization is a blink of an eye, if there was an eye, on the
So let's keep going.
evolutionary timescale. So I think it's important we take the actions to ensure that the light of consciousness continues, and because we should really view.
He's talking about it's very important for us to take the actions. That's another outcome. He's looking at outcomes. So Elon Musk is outcome focused.
Consciousness as a small candle in a vast darkness.
Okay, that's abstraction.
Go out.
That's abstraction right there. That's candle in the.
And because we should really view consciousness as a small candle in a vast darkness.
Okay, so I'm putting another point for abstract.
So you have these missions, and somehow.
So we are only like 3 minutes in, and he said a lot of like abstraction, future focus. So I'm already ready to take that he's abstract, okay, and he's informative. With that being said, being abstract and informative, he can only be an INTP or a NFP. So that means INTP, ENTP, or ENFP, INFP. Okay. The difference between the two, ENTPs are initiating, INTPs are responding, ENFPs are initiating, INFPs are responding. Okay, so we need to see if he's initiating or responding. Let's figure that out.
You have this vision, and you are a visionary, that somehow, whatever you do, you develop other businesses. So when you started SpaceX, you didn't think about satellites. When you started Tesla, you didn't think about robots. When you don't have enough people, you didn't think about robots. So you didn't think about autonomous driving. And without Elon, there would not be electric cars. Nobody who makes cars wants to make electric cars. They're being forced to make them. In fact, every time they sell an electric car, they sell one fewer car that they make money on. And they have all that money invested in plants to make those other cars. So nobody wants to have these cars except for him. And everybody thought it was going to fail. And one of the things you said is that patents are for the weak. And you share your patents. And with other companies, of course, on the other hand, when they get your patents, you're 2 or 3 years ahead of them.
Well, I mean, joking about patents for the week, I think there is a role for patents. Let's say if some company has spent a lot of money developing a particular medicine and had to go through the expense of stage 3 medical trials, and then they finally get something that is approved, but where the drug itself is cheap to manufacture, then I think a patent in that case makes sense. Otherwise, no one would go to the trouble of doing stage 3 medical trials. So there are definitely roles for patents. In the case of Tesla, our goal is to advance sustainable energy, and so we can't
Our
just
goal,
branch
our
out.
outcome.
We need-
Our outcome is energy. So yeah, we're ready to call him outcome.
the whole industry go that way, so we gave them our patents for free in order to help them accelerate electric vehicles.
Another
must be
outcome.
terrifying.
He gave out the patent so that they can accelerate, so that he could get the outcome that he wants, which is everybody on renewable energy. Okay, so I'm taking outcome off the board. Okay, ENTPs and ENFPs are process focused or progression focused. So he's outcome focused. So those two are eliminated. So he can only be an INTP or INFP, and that's because he is abstract, he has informative language, and he's outcome focused. He's looking at the outcome. He's not looking at the journey or anything like that. He wants an outcome whenever he set out to do something. Okay, so with that, he's only can be an INTP or INFP. Okay, so to distinguish between INTP, INFP, INTPs are pragmatic. INFPs are affiliative. Okay, INTPs are TIFE. INFPs are TEFI. Okay, INTPs are systematic. INFPs are interest based, so they're looking at the interest for other people and what's in it for people. Very people focused people. Okay, so off this alone, we could say that he's pragmatic because he's doing things differently than anyone has ever done him. Basically giving out his patents and stuff. So we could actually put on a point for pragmatic on that. And unfortunately, it's looking like Elon Musk is an INTP.
Trying to other companies to realize that when we make cars, it's $39,000 in cost of car, and we're making $15,000, $16,000 in profit a car. And so we invest $7 billion, and we make $15 billion a year. I'm sorry, yeah. And 15, a million cars, 15,000, 15 a million a year on a $7 million investment. Shocking. So no one else does that. And when and here you're telling us how you want to make cars for $20,000 a piece. How do you do that?
Well, we've not formally announced our next car program, so I can't talk too much about our upcoming vehicle program or programs that have not been announced, but we do expect to make cars that are more affordable than the current Model 3.
See that? Like,
So
that was a pretty easy question to answer, and look how long it took him to get the answer out. Like, look at the language he took. Like a direct person, boom, would have just nailed it. Look what he does.
How do you do that?
well, we've not formally announced our next car program.
All he had to say was, "Yo, we cannot talk about that," and then go from there. But look at the words he uses.
So I can't talk too much about our upcoming vehicle program or programs that have not been announced, but we do expect to make cars that are more affordable than the current Model 3 or Model Y. So,
All right. So you see that? Like direct person would have just said, I can't talk about that, but we are looking at programs to decrease the cost the cost of cars. Boom, done. But you see how he goes super wordy, super vague,
and
very
a
passive,
big factor in this is,
very passive.
But I think by far the biggest factor is autonomy and in terms of the value of a car, because right now cars get driven for about 10 or 12 hours a week, like maybe 1.5 hours a day, and but there's 168 hours in a week, and so if they were autonomous, you could probably drive, the cars could drive for
That's
50 or 60
abstraction.
hours, so we see a
If they're
fivefold
autonomous.
increase in the utility of the car, that can do autonomy. This is a really, really gigantic thing. It would also mean that we wouldn't need anywhere near as many parking lots, and this would also be helpful for the environment because you would need far fewer cars.
So I misspoke. It was a $7 billion investment for a plant that makes 1 million cars a year that makes $15 billion a year in profits. So you invest $7 billion and you make $15 billion a year. Who does that? And for a plant that makes, things, manufacturing. And so
right now, that guy's talking about the margins on what they're doing at Tesla. Looks like the margins, he's 17 and putting in 7 billion and getting 15 billion out. That's not great margins.
This is accomplished.
Basically, he could do a lot better if he wanted to be an asshole.
So you're doing it with casting right now. And casting half of the car, and you can soon cast the other half of the car. And other companies, why don't they try? Why don't they try to do what we're doing? In fact, one of the executives of another automobile company wanted me to introduce her to you, and you did that once at a meeting, and now she wants to come visit with her director of engineering at our plant in Austin. And I presume when I ask you, you're going to say, yeah, bring her on, because you innovate so fast, by the time anyone copies what we're doing, it's on to something else. What else is there? When you're casting, what else is there that enables us to make it cheaper? Are we eliminating a lot of other parts? Are we eliminating functions? What are we doing to do that? How would we sell a car that's so cheap?
I think the full explanation, or at least an accurate explanation, would take a long time, because the first approximation, a car is made of 10,000 unique parts and process steps. And
informative.
Tesla's really, I think at this point, probably the best at manufacturing in the auto industry, which I think what nobody was expecting.
Probably in the history of the world.
Probably. So, I've got this first principles algorithm that I find to be very helpful in the design and manufacturing of anything.
Okay, so right now, he's talking about a system that he has. Okay? He's talking about a system he has. Okay. Go back, listen to him. He's talking about a system he has. That can be used for anything. Looks like he's INTP. INFPs are not systematic.
I've got this first principles algorithm that I find to be
that?
very helpful in the design and manufacturing of anything.
Systematic.
And people here may find it helpful. The first thing you should do is make the requirements that you've been given less dumb. Whatever constraints and requirements were given, they were to some degree dumb, and you want to make them less dumb. If you don't start with this, then you get the right answer to the wrong question.
He's talking about outcome again. That's another outcome statement. That's why you do this, because you want this outcome.
The requirements must be given from a person who can explain the requirement, not from a department, because then you don't know who to talk to. Then step 2 is delete the part or delete the process step. This sounds extremely obvious, and yet over and over again we have found that parts were not needed. They were just put in there just in case, or by mistake, or there was a step that someone thought was needed but was not actually.
So he's going through his system to how he can streamline cars and get them more affordable. So he's saying basically make the requirements less dumb. Find somebody and have them walk you through it. Not a department, and if needed, delete the process or delete whatever I guess is missing in the car or needs to be taken out of the car.
This sounds insanely obvious, but we've deleted so many parts from the car that did nothing.
They were just there?
Well, yeah, I can give you so many examples. One example was there were 3
I wonder why he uses the word
mats
delete instead
on
of
top the
remove.
battery pack.
Computer.
They partially covered the battery pack, and it was. I was on the battery pack production line, and it was the number one thing choking battery pack production with gluing on these 3 fiberglass mats to the top of the battery pack. And so this is the reason I repeat this over myself is that I first did things backwards. First, I try to automate it. Then I try to accelerate it. Just have the.
So he's talking about another system that he used to do, which is go back. So we got another systematic. So he tried another system and it wasn't getting him the outcome, and now he changed to this new current system.
Mats to the top of the battery pack. And so this is the reason I repeat this over myself is that I first did things backwards.
See?
First, I try to automate it. Then I try to accelerate it. Just have this go faster. Then I try to simplify it, and only then did I delete it. Because it turned out that
Start my system.
The team at Tesla that does noise and vibration minimization, so making the car quiet, thought that the fiberglass mats were there because of the battery safety team for battery fire prevention. And then I asked the battery fire prevention team what were they needed for, and they said, oh, noise and vibration. And I'm like, okay. So then we had 2 cars drive, one with a microphone in each car, and you could not tell the difference. So we went to all that trouble for a part that should not exist. And then another example was there was again, this was these were choke points in the entire production system. That's why I'm running around the production line trying to fix the production line, just like a maniac, sort of Tasmanian devil, just running around the factory like a lunatic. Let's see, we had the body production line in Model 3 was at one point stuck because we had a laser welding cell to weld a small cross-car beam in the passenger footwell of the front seats. And I'm looking at this beam, and I'm like, what the heck does that do? Because the entire factory is stopped, trying to get this laser weld cell to work. And I'm like, I can't imagine what a useful thing it could do. And then the production team said, oh, that's for crash safety. So then I called the crash safety team and said, is this for crash safety? They said, oh no, that didn't do anything, we should delete it. It turned out to be totally useless. They forgot to tell the production team. Honestly, a bunch of these things just feel like you're living in a Dilbert cartoon. Like, oh no, any given company, they should have what's your Dilbert ratio? Okay, it's not 0.
So is this you, or is this your
Dilbert quotient? Try to keep it low.
So is this you, or is this? So you do all these different things here.
Oh, that's literally me.
It's literally me.
This is someone else who did this. I was living in the factory in Fremont, and the one in Nevada for 3 years straight. That was my primary residence. Not kidding, literally.
Did you keep the couch?
I actually slept in a couch at one point in a tent on the roof, and then but for a while there I was just sleeping under my desk, which is out in the open in the factory, and for an important reason. And it was damn uncomfortable sleeping on that floor. And always, when I woke up,
for a reason. I was sleeping underneath my desk for a reason. Outcome. But we know that already. So I'm ready to finish up here. Okay, so the first thing we notice about Elon Musk is that he uses informative language and not direct. ISTPs and INTJs use direct language. And they're also process focused or progression focused. So they're looking at the process. Elon Musk is heavily outcome focused. Okay, he's heavily outcome focused. So if he's outcome focused and he's informative, he can only be 4 types: ENTP, INTP, ENFP, INFP. Okay, Elon Musk is abstract as well. We already know he's abstract. He talks about a lot being future focused, metaphors here and there. He's talking about highly theoretical things. So those are all intangible things. So yeah, we conclude that he's also abstract. So that's why we have those 4 down. But he's outcome focused. So if he's outcome focused, that means he can't be an ENTP or ENFP because they're progression focused or process focused. And then we notice that Elon Musk is systematic. As you've seen in the interview, he talks about one of the systems he does is to make requirements less dumb. That's the first thing he does. Then he goes to the department and finds a person who can walk him through something, walk him through it, or tell him how to do it. And that's the important reason, and not the department. And then he says if it's not needed, he deletes the process. And then he talked about what he used to do before that, which was automate, accelerate, automate, simplify, and then delete. Okay, so he talked about that one before, and that's the one he said did not give him the best outcomes. So again, he was talking about outcomes again. So he's systematic, he's outcome, he's informative, and as you could tell during the interview, he was primarily responding. He was staying on topic. So he is an introvert. That's one thing that personality database got right, is he is introverted, but he is not an INTJ and he's not an ISTP. He's an INTP. So we're done here. Elon Musk is an INTP, and that is Mongolian Mindset. Comment, subscribe if you agree. Let us know if you find any errors with this. Thank you and have a great day.